And we are going to discuss our unit number 4 of Ie&Ifs, which is based on role of priority sector and MSME in the Indian economy. So basically we are going to discuss this topic, that what is the definition and role of priority sector, list of priority sector identified in India, and then after we will see what are the priority sector lending norms, and finally we will see the definition of MSME. In today's session we are going to discuss these four important topics. So let's begin our discussion with the first topic, that is role of priority sector and MSME in the Indian economy. So friends, RBI has defined certain sectors as priority sectors, right? So this is done by whom? This is done by RBI. Okay. So based on the country need and priority, this sector includes agriculture and small business and education. Let me write it down. So agriculture, okay, SME, small business, small manufacturing enterprises, education, okay, renewable energy, housing. So there are many more, but I'm just giving you a gist. Okay, so the RBI want to ensure that this sector receive enough financial support from banks. So banks are encouraged to provide loan and financial services to businesses and individuals operating in this priority sector. So let's take an example to make it more clear. Let's say the government want to promote affordable housing for low income families as a national priority. So what does government want? Government want to promote affordable housing. Government want to promote affordable housing for low income family as a national priority. The RBI will classify the housing sector as a priority sector. Bank will then be motivated to offer loans and other financial assistance to individuals and companies involved in affordable housing projects. Let's see the next point that we have, that by focusing on priority sector, okay, by focusing on priority sector, bank can ensure that the credit or loans, you can call it credit or you can call it loans, okay, by focusing on priority sector, the bank can ensure that the credit loan reaches the region or area that lacks sufficient access to financial service. That's called credit deficient area. So it also leads to increased lending to a specific group, like, okay, what are the specific group to which lending is done, like a small and marginal farmer, and a small marginal farmer faces challenge in obtaining loans. Furthermore, priority sector lending help provide more financial support to sectors like renewable energy, health, infrastructure. Okay, so this priority sector lending provides financial support to this sector also. So let's take an example to make this concept more clear. So let's consider a credit deficient region where people have limited access to formal banking services. By emphasizing priority sector lending, bank can establish branches or offer mobile banking services in this area, making it easier for people to access credit and financial service. Additionally, a small and marginal farmer who may not have substantial collateral or credit history can benefit from priority sector, as banks are more willing to lend to them. So priority sector lending encourages bank to provide loan for renewable energy project. So let me give you some example of renewable energy project, like solar power plant, which help in country transition toward clean energy. So friends, the last point is MSME. So this MSME. So basically MSME play a crucial role in the Indian economy, as they contribute significantly to the growth, foster more innovation, and generate employment opportunity. So let's consider a small garment. So let's take an example. Suppose a small garment manufacturing unit. So this unit employ a few dozen people. So what does this unit do? This unit employ few dozen people and produces cloth for local market. By providing employment to these individuals, the MSME not only improve their livelihood but also contribute to the overall economy by generating income and increasing consumer spending. Also, MSME bring innovation to the market by introducing new production technique or business model. So this innovation can lead to advancement in various sectors such as technology, manufacturing, and services. So this is all about this particular slide. Let's move on to the next slide. So the next slide is talking about the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector plays a significant role in the Indian economy. It accounts for a large share of the country manufacturing output, export earning, and overall economic output. So there are three parts. The first part is it accounts for large share of the country manufacturing output. Okay, the first thing is manufacturing output. So MSME sector plays a significant role in the Indian economy. It accounts for large share of the country manufacturing output. So let's take an example. Let's take an example to make it more clear. So suppose a small scale manufacturing company. Suppose a small scale manufacturing company that produces furniture. What does it do? It produces furniture. So this company is considered MSME. It is considered MSME. Okay. So its production contribute to the overall manufacturing output of the country. When the company export, so whenever it export furniture to the other country, it contribute to the national export earning. The revenue generated by the company and other MSME collectively adds up to a significant portion of India's GDP. Also, the MSME sector create a considerable number of jobs, employing millions of people. So hopefully you have understood this particular paragraph. The next paragraph talk about MSME sector is advantageous. Why it is advantageous? Because it has the potential to create a significant number of jobs with relatively low investment requirement. Okay, so it is employment potential. So let me take an example. So let's suppose a small bakery business. So let's take a small bakery business. So starting a small bakery does not require a massive amount of capital as compared to setting up a large scale manufacturing plant. However, this small bakery can still employ several people. So they can employ several people. The bakery low capital investment. The bakery low capital investment allow it to operate profitably while providing employment opportunity to individuals in the local community. Okay, so now let's move to let's the definition and role of priority sector. The first time the phrase priority sector has been used during the Morarji Desai, the deputy prime minister of the of finance. The next point is priority sector lending vast comprises now only those sectors that have that can have a substantial influence on vast portion of the population. So let's see which sector it can have influence. We have already talked about. The first sector is weaker section. The second sector is employee intensive sector like agriculture, and third sector is micro, small, medium, macro, small and medium enterprise. Okay, so these are three important sectors upon which the influence of priority sector is more. Right. Now let's move to the next slide. So now let's discuss that Reserve Bank of India has made changes to the priority sector lending guidelines on September 4, 2020. So see, there are some changes made on September 4, 2020. So these changes include expanding the scope of priority sector lending to cover certain areas. So a scope expansion. So the scope of this particular priority sector lending has been expanded. For example, banks are now allowed to provide financial support to startup companies. So startup companies, they can provide finance to startup companies. Okay, up to how much? Up to 50 crore. This help promote entrepreneurship and support the growth of new business. Also, the loan can now be given to farmer to install solar power plant. So loan to farmer for installation of solar power plant, right? And furthermore, the revised guidelines can provide loan for establishment of CBG. You know what is CBG? It is compressed biogas plant. So the meaning of CBG is compressed biogas plant, right? Okay. So now let's discuss the next point that we have. So there are some priority sector classification. The first is agriculture. Second is MSME. I think you are familiar with all these. The third is export credit. You know what is the meaning of export credit? Basically, this refers to the financial assistance provided to support export-oriented business. So to support export-oriented, there are some businesses which are export-oriented. Okay, so in order to support them, this export credit is provided. The next is education. So loan for education purpose include a student loan for higher education, fall under this category. Now housing. So basically, bank provide loan for affordable housing projects, home loan for individual, and other related housing finance activities. The next is social infrastructure. What does it mean? So social infrastructure means that the financing for sector like healthcare, drinking water supply, sanitation, etc. The next is renewable energy. We have already discussed what is renewable energy, and finally is weaker section. Calculation of the target and sub-target for priority sector lending is based on two measures. So what are the two measures upon which it is based? The first is A and BC, which is called adjusted net bank credit. So let us understand this. Let's consider a simplified example. Suppose a bank A and BC is so what is it? It is the total amount of money it has lent to the borrower. So total amount of money which the bank has lent to its borrower is called A and BC. So friends, including loan given to the priority sector entities. So it includes loan to priority sector lending entities. Okay, it is included. So for instance, a bank might issue letter of credit. Okay, so this is A and BC is a measure of the bank lending activity. The second part is COB. What is the meaning of COB? Credit of equivalent of credit equivalent of off balance sheet exposure. So what does it mean? Okay, what is the meaning of COB? So friends, for instance, a bank might issue letter of credit. You know about off balance sheet exposure. Tell me, you know about this off balance sheet exposure? So off balance sheet exposure means what? Like an example, I tell you LC. Like an example, I tell you BG. So these are not reported in the balance sheet, right? These are off balance sheet exposure. So friends, these activity have an associated risk exposure. Okay. So this LC, this BG, they have an associated risk exposure for the bank. Okay, so friends, these the credit equivalent of off balance sheet exposure is a measure that quantify this risk exposure. So while determining the priority sector lending target and sub target, banks take into account both the amount of loan that is given out A and BC and the risk exposure associated with off balance sheet activities. So now let's discuss the priority sector lending classification. So let's discuss the sectoral classification of all these segments. The first is regarding total priority sector. So see, the first column talks about domestic and commercial bank. The second column talks about foreign bank with less than 20 branches. Third column talks about RRBs. Fourth column talks about a small financial bank. The first part is total priority sector lending. So please remember, A and BC and COB we have already discussed. So you calculated the A and BC, you calculated the COBE. Now take 40% of both of them. So whichever is higher will be allocated to the domestic. The second is regarding foreign bank with more than 20 branches. So 40% of the A and BC or COB, whichever is higher, and out of this 40%, 32% should be in the form of export lending. So suppose this is the entire percentage. So this 32% should be in the form of what? In the form of lending to export and not less than 8% to any other private sector. The next part is regarding RRBs. So RRB, in RRB 75% of A and BC or COB, whichever is higher. However, lending to medium enterprise, social infrastructure and renewable energy we will be reckoned for receiving. So this is the target, priority sector lending total target, out of which 40% to domestic to domestic commercial bank. The next is 40% A and BC COBC to a foreign bank with less than 20 branches. RRBs has got 75%. And a small financial bank also gets 75% of their NBC or COBE, whichever is higher. Now let's discuss the next part that we have, that is regarding the agriculture. Okay, in agriculture case, what is the percentage? That is 18% of ANBC or COB, whichever is higher, and out of this 18%, 10% is prescribed to the SMF. So this is similar to all the cases, here also. Okay, please remember, in the case of agriculture, 18% of the ANBC is to be credited to the agriculture sector, out of which 10% should be in the small and marginal farmer. Now foreign bank with less than 20 branch has nothing to do with agriculture. Similarly, micro enterprise 7.5%, 7.5%. Okay, so 7.5% of what? 7.5% of ANBC or COB, whichever is higher. So now agriculture at 18%, agriculture 18% discuss, macro by 75%, advanced to weaker section 12%. So advanced to weaker section in the case of domestic commercial bank, what is the limit? Please remember, to weaker section 12% of ANBC or COB, while for RRB it is 15%, and for a small financial bank this is 12%. Let's come to the next slide and let's discuss definition of MSME. So this definition of MSME we will discuss in this lecture. So if you want such type of lecture, please WhatsApp me on this number. If you want such type of explanation in English, please WhatsApp me on this number. I will provide you the link of paid plan. Please install my app JAIIB and CAIIB Made Simple. Please install this app from the Play Store. The link is provided in the description section. Daily we are conducting quizzes. I just tell you the topic from which quizzes question will be asked, and you just prepare that and take the test. On daily basis we are performing this duty. So if you are interested to enroll in such program, kindly WhatsApp me on the number. Thank you.